Hey there guys, welcome to another sadistic gameplay of Minecraft. This game is extremely hard on this specifically because there's definitely some glitches, either that or I suck balls, but pretty sure there's definitely some glitches and I probably a little bit of both. But we'll go ahead and get this thing put together and then we'll get started shortly. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the stream. It doesn't tell you the freaking color. It drives me mad. Sadistic mode for sure. Oh yeah, you want to do the story mode, or do you want me to warm up on? I guess I can warm up on this for a little bit, like a couple of times, and then I'll go into story mode. No camera on right now because my fiance is going to be running in at any point in time, and you know how that goes. So cannot wait to get my game room set up. Got your mug ready. Alright, I'll definitely put on a story mode then first. I feel like story mode is more entertaining as far as a viewer standpoint. Survival mode, I mean, I guess it's funny if you want to see the person like struggle and freak out. That's also cool, but story mode just seems like it'd be more entertaining. What kind of food you're eating? There's no escape, my little plum. Fucking love that part. Look at that pancake butt.
Oh no, there's no escape, my sweet little plum.
Diet Pepsi. Do you see that Diet Pepsi there?
It's gotta be the strangest thing I've ever
Damn.
seen. Hear that?
I just noticed that.
All right, listen up.
And he drinks
The
the
students
Pepsi.
that have been coming up to work the
Fucking
resort
love
on
it.
this side of the lake have been disappearing right and left.
Local authorities didn't have a clue until our surveillance teams tapped into the winery house right there and taped everything you just saw.
What about the cameras and the traps?
Probably security.
What?
We suspect they're using the winery house as a cover, and they're getting anyone who stumbles onto their scheme, whatever that is.
Mike. This is Kelly.
Kid.
Come on, isn't she a little young?
She's young, but she's one of our best.
She'll also be working inside. And remember, no one goes in until we get the signal from her.
I want to know more about these traps.
Yeah.
That's one thing we've got going for us.
How's that?
One of our guys put an override on the camera cable unit here in the back hallway.
Which means?
Which means we have complete control of the cameras and the traps.
But who operates that?
They do.
And who's that?
I'm not exactly certain. Special operators from Control. But we gotta work together on this one. Any questions?
Let's rock and roll.
Be careful out there, huh? And you keep your eyes open We're all depending on you, especially Kelly. She should be there now. I'll switch you over. And good luck.
Yeah, it's 6 minutes and 30 seconds. There's no way to beat it. Like, you're gonna miss it. There's another one right here. They're gonna come from the back, I think. $120. This guy goes over here. 120 is a crucial point because he doesn't. You don't see him pop up on the screen right here on the kitchen. And action.
But you...
This little fast sped up creeper right here.
Donna, I'm sorry.
And Sarah's coming in with...
Yeah.
Sheila and I might have to make a delivery.
Hey!
I'm not...
I am so embarrassed. You know this... They're here.
Good! Come down.
Glad I brought you along.
Do you...
Shut up!
Well, I can tell this is gonna be fun. You with me, Control? We're going in.
Not to come. Sarah, this...
Cindy?
Hi.
Ashley? Hi. Megan? Hey. Hi. Her little brother, Dan. He really goofy out there. Actually, I'm...
What's wrong?
Oh, I missed those bastards there.
Hi, Eddie.
But I want to show you the 631 again.
Oh, and let us know when you want to die,
I
Eddie.
can never get them. Ah, I missed it. It's gonna be orange, maybe? Orange or red? Green? Blue, maybe? Purple? I still don't know what it is yet. Here it is, right here. These are the two guys I can't get to save my life. See, I got them that way. I got those guys that way, but I can't get that one guy. Ah! I don't know the code. I don't know the code. This is gonna suck. This is rough, dude. Hey! Dog. Excuse me.
both know that. But you must start doing your job.
Dawn on me. Yeah, I'll dawn on you if you don't get on the ball.
I'm sorry.
Moving over there.
No, Ashley, I think it's your imagination.
Check out the boat.
I am so embarrassed.
Good.
Face, you just better be glad I brought you along.
The only reason you brought me along is because Mom made you.
Shut up.
Well, I can tell this is gonna be fun. You with me, Control? We're going in.
Hi. Hi. I was so afraid you decided not to come.
Oh, no way. I've been looking forward to this all week.
I want you to meet Cindy. Lisa.
Hi.
Her little brother, Dan.
Who's that? He really is the kind of dad.
So far, so good.
Just set them down anywhere, girls. This is a... Well, please, just... Sheila.
This weekend, it's very...
Craving.
Hey, come on, everyone. Let's go down to the...
Oh, you take care of everything.
Guys, come on.
Let's go to the lake.
Victor augurs to... Actually, I'm sure you and the boys can take care of everything here.
I understand.
Bye, girls. Fun. Curious little bun. Woman.
Oh, Victor, you... To upset the augurs.
Just know when you want to die.
And change the trap access code from blue to yellow.
Don't worry, Mom. It's all in the fingers.
Do you really... Well, do you think they can handle it?
Of course they can. What could...
Alright, right here. 6:30. This is where we cannot get them. It's yellow. The number changed to yellow. See, look, nothing. Should be able to get these guys. Nothing. Nothing. See, nothing. Nothing. I was looking to see if there's someone else around, but there's not. It's so frustrating. Did y'all see that? Was it just me? Can y'all go tell the developer too? Because it's not just me. Tell them you saw the stream. You saw it, and it's not just me. I'm not going crazy. Please, someone believe me. Sucking right now. After 6:30, I just almost don't even care because it's like I can't beat it after that. I can't get the perfect score. I'm like so upset, guys.
This is
I cannot beat it. It's an illusion. Totally not a delusion. Why won't you believe me?
We'll see if you can get it fixed. We'll have to do it the old-fashioned way.
I could take all weekend. I got plans.
Yeah. Come on, everyone. I'll show you to your room.
What? Hope it's red. It's not red. Yellow?
Great.
I think it might be yellow.
I like it. You. It really is. Hey, can I use...
Just no heroics, huh?
Family? No. My brother. Hop in. You're...
Oh, wow, you guys, this is the life.
Summer. You know, I think he likes Ashley. Yes. You can do that, make eyes.
And he's wearing sunglasses.
First you put him in a chair with a clown. Ouch! Oh, no, Miss Lisa. That was too tight. And then you find some powder and you put it all over his face.
Found it. Oh, there's two of them outside at 11. Shit. That's one to keep in the memory banks. 2 at 11.
Okay, good night.
What was that on?
ice cream.
I've missed so many so far.
We have another problem. I found a tricord upstairs.
A what?
An auger tricord.
Thank you.
You're not scaring me. What are you doing now? Leave me alone! No! Oh, yeah.
I love this fight scene right here. No! Kids burst the handkerchiefs since we didn't have to touch them. Oh yeah, you get it. You get it, girl.
Come on, we gotta get out of here.
Big problems. What?
Here.
All right, I'll go downstairs and reset the access code to orange.
I guess.
You change it to orange.
Around here.
Hey, let's go swim.
Yeah, get.
Dogs. Vampire.
Go ahead.
It's nothing personal. It's the only way they can keep alive. Most.
Let's go down to the control room. Maybe Tony has seen the Augs.
Gotcha.
I'd feel better if we switched the code again to red. We don't want anyone else to get control.
These.
Time I've had the car the entire weekend, and I wind up. Weekend. Tony.
Let's get something to eat.
I don't understand.
You'd never understand. Just leave now.
Hold it! I'll leave this.
Get out of this!
Don't make me use this, Tony.
Think. Protect you? Against us.
Us?
My family, my God.
You okay?
Wait, don't shoot. It's me. Listen, I think you should be hanging.
Definitely. Ew! Sadie, you're making a mess. Kelly, I'm so confused. Kelly, come in. Over. I'm in.
Roger, Kelly. This is Mike.
Code red.
Right.
Red.
Right. Okay, what's your 20?
Yeah,
Oh,
great.
boy.
Mike, I'm not. Tell me what's going on.
There's a dead body. There's blood. Big creatures following us.
Come on, you guys. Just relax. Come on. Come on. the whole house surrounded, taking control of all the traps and surveillance cameras in the house. Control, you've got to be with us.
What are you doing?
Control, there's a key.
That part's funny. I'm missing like way too many now, but let's continue on. This one's glitched out at 1835 as well.
Here, Kelly, what if they're not?
Yes, the Augs are here. I can feel them in the house.
Way to go, Control. I knew you could do it. Tony, this is all insane.
I tried to warn you, but you wouldn't listen.
Listen.
I tried to save her from the Augs. I had to interfere.
Is wrong. I'm not quite sure.
I don't understand. This is crazy.
I don't like this at all.
Foolish, Kelly. They wouldn't stand in my way. Would you?
Going in, over.
Later, Tony.
Close.
Where are the girls?
Hey, what is that thing?
Sarah, what is going on? Oh, we suspected it. Oh, Victor.
Someone else is taking...
Deke, check the back. Charlie upstairs.
Watch us.
Still with us?
They are. They just saved my life.
Kelly, you all right?
Hold it! Nobody move!
What is the meaning? In that case.
Should inform you now, Mr. Martin. Your house has been under surveillance.
Number of kids.
Where to start?
Start by explaining.
Oh, darling. Brilliant craftsmanship that made all of this.
Hello. What do you say? I don't like this dude, man.
You see, Lieutenant, trying to help the unfortunate.
Augers.
Those are those things that were chasing us around the house trying to get our blood.
Acting.
What is... Vampire victim who's been half-bled and left there to die.
Creatures have just enough blood to serve enough to become vampires.
Pork! These are monsters, see?
It's a wicked curse. Wandering about, hoping one day to become a vampire.
Ew!
You jabbing me. Let's cuff these freaks and drag them downtown.
Hold it! I don't think you understand, Mr.
I'm afraid it is you who doesn't understand.
Jeffrey, are you all right?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. What's going on? Where's Tony?
Get that jive cookie. Oh, he got hit.
With the others.
Get that phony.
Appelle-toi, ma chérie.
Oh, this is such fun, my God.
Use the trap.
But it was going to be a surprise.
You gotta help me, please. Use the traps. Now!
The wall trap!
Please, you're the only one that can save me.
You're all mine now.
Whose side are you on, anyway? No! No!
Just relax. You won't feel a thing.
No! How could you let this happen? No!
Now I was supposed to let Sarah eat her so I can unlock something. Let's see if it worked. It's out in the basement. Let's see if we unlocked it. By Sheila. Sheila's the mom. This is the one. This is the one that was for Sarah, I guess. Capture Kelly and Hall 2 is unlocked. I thought I already captured Kelly before, but I guess I didn't save it. Wow, that looks freaking insane. Wow, you see that? Alright guys, let's go ahead and finish the right way. Oh, they didn't tell me the colors. I'm going to have to restart that. Alright guys, I'm going to take about a 5 or 10 minute break real quick, if you don't mind. I'll go ahead and put James Riley speaking about the thing for about, a couple of minutes while I take a breather and get something to drink and bathroom break and all that. Hey, Zane Edwards.
My name is Jim Riley, and I was co-creator, writer, and director on Night Trap. This is mid-'80s. Nintendo is doing very well with their video games, right? Mario Brothers type stuff. Sega is doing pretty well. I was working with Nolan Bushnell on a series of interactive advertising and interactive retailing campaigns. And I got a call from a guy who was actually my neighbor, Rob Fulop, who had developed Demon Attack and a number of Atari games. And he knew of a guy named Tom Zito working at another Nolan Bushnell company that had actually been presented. There was a guy, an engineer, who came in with this wafer that allowed you to attach it to a VCR and be able to interact with the video cartridge as your video source, but you could interact up to 4 choices at any one time. And they were trying to figure out what to do with it. So Rob knew that I had a background in live action interactive and introduced me to Tom. Tom wanted to put together some demos to take to Hasbro. And they said, so this is a relatively inexpensive addition to a VCR, and if we provide this enhancement, we can actually get into the video game business and allow us to compete. That's significant revenue, and now we're in the living room. We all came up with ideas, and my focus was more about these environments where you could go anywhere at any time or feel as if you could move more freely. One of the easiest ways to think of that is surveillance cameras. The first demo we did was Scene of the Crime to kind of test out, play test the idea of being able to move around through surveillance cameras and see how interesting that was. So in Scene of the Crime, the basic idea is that this wealthy man has a safe full of money in his library, and he has this new surveillance system where you, the participant, is the security guy. And he tells you to please watch the safe, and if anybody tries to break in, he wants to know about it.
Watch them with the cameras. If anyone tries anything, I want to know about it.
Then you can move around the house, switching cameras, to try to follow what's going on. Of course, everybody has a plot to steal the money, so you're trying to figure out who's involved, how it happens, and then after a 3 to 5 minute quick period, sure enough, somebody stole the money, the lights were out, it was hard to tell exactly who it was. You couldn't just sit in the room to figure it out. And then he says, okay, who did it? And then you guess. So really simple concept, but 4 of us flew back to Hasbro, pitched it to Stephen Hasenfeld and a boardroom of 22 executives. That day we got funding, significant funding, to start what became Digital Pictures. Then they said, okay, we want to do a title that uses this. And at that point, I was working on a number of other things, but I felt like surveillance cameras is great, but to have more effect on what happens, rather than just an observer looking at what's going on, if we could create some device that allowed participants to feel more engaged and be able to subtly change the story. Again, not branching or changing the ending, but in fact be able to do something and watch how the story changes. And have to play it multiple times to really understand the subtleties of that. And that was the traps, which could be done even within this very limited environment. What happened, though, was, you know, everybody started to realize, wow, this is tricky stuff. Part of it is that there was never a real formula. Hasbro decided that it didn't want to move forward. They began, I think, to understand that this is a significant investment. This is like starting a studio. We all went away, 1989, and then in 1992, Tom negotiated a deal with Sega, who had come up with the Sega CD, which was just powerful enough to stream. Back then, it's Mario Brothers, you know, really simple pixelated graphics. And so all of a sudden, there was this option to play or experience a live-action interactive world that was all photoreal with real people, et cetera. So that I think was the initial excitement. And so when the Sega CD came out, you know, everybody was just hats and horns, and this is fantastic, and look, we can interact with this. And we had a number of really interesting people that were experimenting, is really the best way to say it, with this sort of new platform. Not quite sure what it was. And everything from writers who were, you know, having constructive arguments about interactive narrative, which is very tricky, right? A lot of people will say, we don't want people to look the wrong way or be doing, we want to control their experience, and to give this to novice or non-filmmakers, it goes against everything that they've been trained to do. The other side of that is the game, is a video game. And a video game, a really good video game, is you have full control. You're actually, the world is very believable, full of fascinating characters, and you're motivated to do a number of things to achieve whatever the goal is. But it's a high level of interactivity, right? And that's more important than the believability of your environment, right? So those are the two extremes. Even back then, those were the two extremes. But there was this funny gray area, and nobody quite knew what to make of it. You know, we called it FMV or live action interactive or whatever those things were. We'd bring in a writer, a director, a game designer, a software programmer. There were all these different people sitting around a table speaking completely different languages, having very different sensibilities, trying to find some common ground. The first concept was to take the sort of wealthy guy and, you know, with a safe full of money to the extreme. So it was a billionaire who had, you know, Fort Knox in his house, modern house in Lake Tahoe. He was able to do this with comfort and leave, knowing that he had this next generation security system, which included the latest surveillance cameras and also this, these traps and gadgets that would allow any, would allow the 24/7 security team to be able to trap any potential intruders. And so happens one weekend, his daughter shows up for a slumber party with all of her teenage friends, and the house is attacked by ninja burglars. And the reason I thought ninjas would be the cool approach would be that they move in the shadows. You start off with this really simple, clean concept that, you know, could be refined and really have an edge to it and a look and stuff, and you end up with this thing that is a combination of bad notes over time. And somehow it went from ninjas focused on getting the money, you know, and the girls being able to, you know, they were sort of not the key, but they were very much caught in the mix, to vampires. There was this thing called reproducible violence. It's the first time I had heard that term, but it turns out to be a very real thing. And Hasbro in particular was very concerned about that. So we went into kind of the supernatural realm with the vampire. And they said, no, 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 we don't want to see, you know, vampires biting the girls. So these were toothless vampires, and they could not move too quickly. So they actually had to be kind of sick. So they had to be toothless, sick vampires. I mean, it just kept getting worse. And the AUG term came because they really needed blood, and the only way they could get it was to auger in with a device like the trocar. That cleared as a non-reproducible violence. I thought that in our effort to homogenize this thing and make it more friendly and less scary, it actually was pretty creepy in terms of these, you know, strange characters walking around with the trocar. In this case, the script writing was so bizarre because you had to do two things. You had to create a world, then you had to navigate within that world. You had technical limits of what you could actually do, but you were cheating that to make it look like you could do anything. So that was a whole thing. And then for the moments, you could write a scene, but the scene had to motivate somebody to go somewhere else. But the script was not 120 pages. The script was like this, right, with a timeline. And people were going, how do I read this? I mean, you know, it's kind of like, you know, I'm here and what, because everything was, by the way, time, right? Because you only had that much time for the scene. So blocking was very different. You know, rather than sitting down with the actors and saying, you know, what's the intent here, and, you know, should you walk over here, and, you know, where should you? It was like, okay, we got. You have 24 seconds. So how do we block this where you're going to end up going out that door, but it's got to look natural, right? Yeah. And you got to be out that door in 18 seconds, because in 18 seconds you're going to appear in the hallway. I walked around with a timeline. I think it became sort of a joke, which is, you know, where are we now? And I'd have to take the timeline out, and it had 8 tracks, right? 4 at any one time with stills, and I would be able to figure out. So it was tricky. That we shot days and nights, you know, sets and locations. I was surprised at how quickly everybody got into it. Right? It wasn't difficult for them to go, oh, I get it. Okay, so, you know, I'm going to be here, but I could be over there, and then depending on what happens with the AUG here, I might. And they got into it, and in some cases they adjusted their performance accordingly, which was a wonderful surprise. We didn't have a lot of money to cast name, talent, and that sort of thing. Dana Plato was someone who we were lucky to get.
Well, there's something about Kelly.
Woman's intuition again, huh?
Victor, you monster. Come on, let's go. We don't want to upset the augurs.
All the augs were stunt guys with, trash bags taped to them. But when the trap went, they had to be in a position where they were balanced, right? Because when they drop through the floor, they've got to be able to do it. How do you move? You do this. So that became the aug walk. We had to figure out in the shooting how to be most economical. So we generally shot out each environment. The bedroom was one of the first sets we shot, and the lobby, or the foyer, was one of the last. But most of the continuity, there were so many other issues that continuity like that was the least of anybody's concern.
This guy is really wigged out.
Trying to create an environment where the cast, and to some degree the DP and the lighting guys, really could participate as if they were making a movie. There were other technical restrictions. That they were very nervous about things that were too dark. I mean, the way it was originally envisioned was that it was really cool and edgy. And it turned out to be super bright because they were concerned that if it got too dark, that it would pixelate too much. Because the technology was so new and we were right at the edge. What was interesting is we shot Night Trap on 35 millimeter. In fact, Don Burgess was the DP and went on to do Forrest Gump, and not that Night Trap launched his career. I mean, Don Burgess, this brilliant DP, is having to essentially light the room like everything's got neon lights. And we were all unhappy about that. But at the same time, it's the first time it's being done, right? And there were a lot of people involved, and everybody was making their best guess. The shoot was tricky. We shot days and nights, sets and locations. The post was very tricky. I ended up using, I think it was Ediflex at one pass. It was the only way to cut this, because what you end up with, it's a puzzle. Right? So think of it as, a 3D chess game where you're trying to figure out, okay, I got a little piece right there and I got a piece that ties into that. In spite of all of this, it was a title that became very popular with a lot of people, I think primarily because it was one of the first to have real characters, in a real photoreal world.
Sarah, we're in this huge house with all your friends. We have telephones, we have a car, your parents are gone, and you say so?
Come on, Sarah, what's the first thing you think of?
Party!
We had gone through a 3-year period with Hasbro where we looked at the marketplace, we did a ton of play testing, and I don't think it was ever clearly resolved what this thing was. And in fact, when it was ported over to Sega CD, I felt more concerned. Yes, it was being released, but it was being released on a game platform. And sure enough, everybody was going, well, this isn't really a game. I mean, this is an interesting thing, and it's fun. And for a lot of people, they didn't need a heavy interaction. So the live action, real characters was more interesting, at least for a period of time. Night Trap goes out, and still a new market. Nobody quite knows what's going on, and I don't think the sales were that great. And then all of a sudden, there's a Senate hearing on violence in video games. And Night Trap is one of the premier, and I'm just thinking, you're kidding. I mean, because by that time, we had homogenized it down to the simplest things. The only thing that was probably the most violent was the trocar in the bathroom scene.
Megan, this isn't gonna work. You're not scaring me. Wait. What are you doing now?
If you saw the Senate hearing, what it looked like is somebody had just edited out the most violent things from different games, including Night Trap, and put it together and showed it to these guys who, of course, most likely never played video games, so they didn't really understand the market. But what they thought is, my 8-year-old kid is being trained to kill people. If you talk to the kid, he'd go, what are you talking about? This is like, not a big deal. So I think what happened is there were selects that were made, including the trocar scene in the bathroom of Night Trap. They said, not only is this violence, not only are you promoting violence to our kids and somehow subconsciously turning them into, violent criminals, but because it's real, it's actually more scary. Up till that time, it was pixelated graphics. And when it became real, I think everybody thought, oh my God, now this is really bad. I don't think there was a lot of understanding of what was going on in the business. I don't think that Night Trap, in comparison to some of the other games that were out at that time, was that violent. It did have its moments, and when you, just like anything, once you take those things and you put them together, you can make anything look like the worst horror film you've ever seen. But thank God, because two things happened. One is sales of Night Trap just went through the roof, and then they came up with the rating system. The irony is that Night Trap is still on the list of most violent games. And you look at what's out there, I mean, there's no comparison. The shower scene, it's not even a shower scene, but the bathroom scene with the trocar, it looks pretty gruesome when you do the close-up and you see the drill going into the neck, and I get that. At least back then it was, considered to be pretty gruesome. But, for some people, you have to look at the Augs as kind of sad. What's happening now is it's worth bringing back Night Trap and some other things just because there are a lot of people that would love to see it in better resolution, and I don't know where the film is. I mean, fortunately, I made a copy of the original timed masters. And those were, again, timed for this unknown world. So everything's bright, but even then, you're going to see a lot more contrast and a lot more detail than you did through the Sega CD. I'm hoping that the fans of the game will actually have a newer, fresher experience with the resolution change. I'm also very interested in people that have never been in this world before and don't think of it as a game and don't think of it as a movie, but think of it as live-action interactives. Today, you say interactive, and it's like, yeah, so what? What specifically do you mean? Your computer's interactive, right? So back then, it was people didn't understand when you said interactive. They really didn't know what that meant. Or they'd have very different ideas about what that meant. So in some ways, that part of it, I think is going to be fun.
Mark? Right on back here? Yeah. This over here at this point?
Yep, it's right there. Okay. Here we go. And action.
I find that so extremely offensive, and the only word you can say to the manufacturers and the shareholders of the company is shame on you. Shame, shame, shame on you.
Mark, hold it right there.
Shame on people that produce that trash. It's child abuse, in my judgment.
I don't like it at all.
Mark.
About 2 months ago, I saw the video game Night Trap for the first time. It is a sick, disgusting video game, in my judgment.
There's the drill. That's the guy with the drill.
Yeah, that is the guy with the drill. But
We mustn't catch him or we don't see the gratuitous violence.
It's an effort to trap and kill women.
For the first month or so, I would see Tom and I would say, there is the evil man that made Night Trap. And he'd say, there is the evil man that made Night Trap. But it was a joke for a while. Then the joke started getting serious until a friend of my family's called me and said, hey, did you know Captain Kangaroo came on TV today and said that Night Trap was a bad game?
The danger arises when the subject of the software is of a violent nature.
And that's where it got very serious for me, because I loved Captain Kangaroo.
Well, I mean, God, it was on the front page of USA Today, it was on the front page of the Washington Post, it was on the front page of the New York Times. It was so new, it was so revolutionary at the time that it first came out that it was ideal fodder for somebody who wanted to use it as a political hand grenade.
Your bullets can't hurt me.
And when we see the new generation of video games, and especially Night Trap and several other examples, in my judgment, they've gone too far.
You're the only one that can save me.
My son and I, Tyler, who's 11 now, we went to rent a movie. And the gentleman said to me, he says, hey, you know, Dana, they took your game off the market. And I said, why? He said, well, obviously there's a bunch of controversy behind it. And I said, oh, really? And that's how I heard. It's not violent, you know, in any sense. It's not violent, it's not gory, it's not anything like that at all. And the object of the game is to save the girls that go in for the slumber party.
Way to go, Control. I knew you could do it.
Our state of mind about creating some horrible, frightening thing.
So, you're the troublemaker.
It was really, how many OGs can we trap in the house?
The guy from the New York Times called me and he said, we hear these terrible things are happening. And that was like one of the first phone calls I got, that these games are really violent and people, you know, are really up in arms about them. And I was saying, have you seen Night Trap?
Oh, they're the Ogs, by God.
Evil Ogs.
They are evil. You can just tell by the way they're hopping along.
I'm afraid the Ogs aren't our biggest problem.
The horrible sex and violence scene is in the bathroom. Right here, X marks the spot. This is where Elisa gets it. She is in a nightgown, so I guess this is the scantily clad part. And there's, you know, an OG in the shower. I mean, it was funny. You could hear people laughing on the set because it is.
I don't see why it would be titillating. I had on a spaghetti strap nightgown. It was cute. It was peach. I think it had little flowers here.
The whole sort of reason for having that thing that goes around the neck of the kids that get nailed was to make it something that was sort of so phantasaical and something so non-replicable that there wouldn't be any chance that anybody could mistake it for reality.
Ooh, so scary.
A controversial scene.
This is actually the reason why there's ratings on video games now.
We prefer self-regulation to government regulation, but make no mistake about it, we will move ahead if you do not.
The one good thing that came from Night Trap is that it created a rating system for titles.
I flew to Washington to go to these hearings. In the morning of the hearings, they announced to us, they told me, gee, you know, we're really sorry. Thanks so much for coming. We're really sorry, but we decided that there isn't any time to hear your testimony today. And then at some point in the hearings, Dorgan is reading from, he says, yeah, and it's a shame Mr. Zito couldn't be here to defend this horrible filth that this company is putting on. I said, Senator, I am here, and I'd be happy to talk about it. You're out of order. Just, be quiet back there.
See, these people are crazy.
That I actually did see TV reports that the object of the game was to kill and rape sexy co-eds.
There was absolutely no sex.
Sex? I mean, unless you're attracted to large, dark objects that go like this, there wasn't any.
Wait.
Hey,
Actually,
did you see where she just bumped into? Good Lord. It's gratuitous, the sex.
At the end of the hearings, I walked up to Lieberman and I said to him, Senator, have you ever actually played this game? And he said, I don't have to. This is filth.
And I think that Night Trap was kind of thrown to the wolves as bait. Like, here, have this one.
I want to state that Night Trap will never appear on a Nintendo system. Obviously, it would not pass our guidelines.
You know, when all this TV coverage was going on, I was on a TV show, and when I needed the Night Trap footage, it was Nintendo that was like, oh, we'll send it to you.
Howard, I owe all the sales of Night Trap to you.
Want to sell something to 16-year-old boys? Get it banned by Toys R Us. You can't keep enough of a supply at the warehouse.
I've had some controversy in my life, and I just found it interesting that there was some controversy behind this also. But it's like this dark cloud, that just kind of follows me.
I have this horrible feeling that 20 years from now, somebody's going to call me and say, Jim, we want to do an interview, and I'm going to say, great, is it Wirehead? Is it this new show? And no, Night Trap, the classic, the great, we want to get the behind the scenes of Night Trap. I'm going to be pulling this stupid binder out, every 5 years going, yeah, well, we had a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Nice going.
Mark. Rick, will you tell these guys to stop bugging me?
Alright guys, sorry about the very long 10-minute wait.
Oh no, there's no escape, my sweet little plum.
Seen enough of that? Wow, it's got to be the strangest thing I've ever seen. I hear that.
Just got this in last night.
All right, listen up. The students that have been coming up to work the resort on this side of the lake have been disappearing right and left.
Local authorities didn't have a clue until our surveillance teams tapped into the winery house right there and taped everything you just saw.
What about the cameras and the traps? Probably security. What?
We suspect they're using the winery house as a cover, and they're getting anyone who stumbles onto their scheme, whatever that is.
Mike. This is Kelly. A kid.
Come on, isn't she a little young?
She's young. She's one of our best.
She'll also be working inside. And remember, no one goes in until we get the signal from her.
I want to know more about these traps.
Yeah. That's one thing we've got going for us.
How's that?
One of our guys put an override on the camera cable unit here in the back hallway.
Which means?
Which means we have complete control of the cameras and the traps.
But who operates that?
They do.
And who's that?
I'm not exactly certain. Special operators from Control. But we gotta work together on this one. Any questions?
Let's rock and roll. Let's do it.
Be careful out there, huh? And you.
This is
you
so
keep your eyes
deliciously
open.
80s.
We're all depending on you, especially Kelly. She should be there now. I'll switch you over. And good luck.
I'll dawn on you if you don't get on the ball. I'm sorry.
Oh, che cretini.
So, what's happening tonight, Dad?
6 more tonight.
6? Yep.
The problem is Sheila and I might have to make it.
That's no problem. Tony and I...
Oh, 2.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. This is special vintage.
Oh, Jeffrey, don't be so selfish. Think of the poor, starving augurs.
Those animals.
They're here.
Good. Come down.
What's the matter with you, anyway? I don't know. Bored, I guess.
So enjoy our new guests.
Now, Victor, we can't forget about the poor augurs.
Be much too much. Come, let's visit the girls.
Father, I want you to meet Cindy. Ashley.
Hi.
Megan.
Hey.
Lisa.
Hi.
Her little brother Danny.
Pete.
Enchanté.
What?
Tu parles
Anywhere, girls.
pity.
Victor and I have to make a visit to the augers tonight. I'm sure.
Good night.
Have fun.
Tuition again, huh?
I don't want to. Eddie. Nice of you to drop by, Eddie. Oh, and let us know when you want to die, Eddie. Don't worry, Mom. It's all in the fingers.
Well, do you think they can handle it?
Of course they can.
Sarah, your parents.
Option and check it.
Roger.
Mike, go around.
And my gracious brother.
Want him out of that house.
Lisa?
going on? Again.
No, not that again.
He's just. I know.
This is Collins. Here goes nothing, Chief.
Never know who might drop in.
Oh, wow, you guys, this is the life.
Megan. Summer. You know, I think he likes Ashley.
Really?
Yes. You can see it in his eyes.
And he's wearing sunglasses.
I mean...
Miss Lisa, that was too tight. And then you find some powder and you put it all over his face. I can't breathe.
Will there be anything?
Yeah, okay, good night, thank you.
What was that all about?
Something about a...
So, what would you like?
Good.
Oh, how about some ice cream? Yeah, that sounds good.
Yes. Oh, I know.
She's gonna die. I don't know the freaking code.
Oh, thanks.
This isn't gonna work. You're not scaring me. Wait. What are you doing? No! Leave me alone!
I'd like to know what's going on. Let's go outside.
Talk.
Come on, we gotta get out of here. They're after us.
We got big problems.
What?
All right. The Augs are here.
All right, I'll go downstairs and reset the access code to purple.
What's the matter? You all right?
I guess I was just surprised.
What do you want?
Well, I just wanted to...
everybody all right? Hey, look, I don't think it's a good idea for you to be hanging around here at night. Why don't you just go home?
What? Danger!
You
falling off their boat. Too.
What can we do?
Fight back.
How?
With these.
What are they?
Stealth.
Listen, Cindy.
All right.
Here, you take this one and go in the front, and I'll go around in the back.
Stay out of this!
Don't make me use this, Tony.
Did you really?
You check in there, and I'll check down there. Be careful.
Yeah, this is great.
Hold on.
There's blood everywhere. There are these big creatures following us.
Relax, come on. Scat, we have the whole house surrounded with all the traps and surveillance cameras in the house. There's one right there.
It was orange. Doing so shitty.
Yourself, okay? Control, you've got to be with us.
What are you doing?
Oh, there's a kid. I can't stand it! Make it
think I got a trapper here to get one of the bonuses. New trapper real quick.
Control, how could you let that happen?
Megan is dead.
Alright, I think I unlocked
yes,
something now for that.
saved her. You were responsible for her life, and you screwed up. There's a lot going on in this house. Too bad you're not going to be around to see any more of it. Breaking contact.
You know, the guy really... Maybe to little dogs.
Gotcha.
I'd feel better if we switched the code again to green. We don't want anyone else to get control.
I'm gonna check, okay? Beacon, and I want... Really weird around here. Keep your eyes open and watch out for the other girls. Tony!
Tony, I don't understand.
You'd never understand. Just leave now.
Ah! Hold it!
You stay out of this.
Don't make me use this, Tony.
Cindy, all you think about is food.
Again.
I'm serious. Eddie made these lasers. Everybody else, follow me.
Wait!
Out.
I don't think you should be hanging around.
Definitely.
Ew!
Fine. This is Kelly. Come in. Over. Mike, this is Kelly. Come in.
Roger, Kelly. This is Mike.
Code red. I repeat, code red.
What's your 20?
I'm up.
20.
I'm upstairs. Yeah, this is great.
What? Did you say van?
I'm not.
Okay, hold on.
Just relax. Come on. Relax. Control of all the traps and surveillance cameras in the house. There's one right there. Can they help? we just have to... I can't stand it! Megan, no! Megan, run! Y'all, trapped! Control! Girl, I knew you could do it! This is all... What are you talking about?
What is it, dear?
But you had to interfere.
Leader, this is Swan.
Tony, I don't understand. This is crazy.
Don't be foolish, Kelly. They wouldn't stand in my way. Would you?
Let's look upstairs.
Oh, you're back.
Sarah, what is going on?
The Augs are here.
Oh, we suspected as much when they didn't show up for the delivery. Oh, Victor, they're just hungry.
Where are Jeff and Tony?
They're down.
Deke, check the back. Charlie upstairs.
Watch your step, guys. I help control.
They are. They just saved my...
Please,
We'll go ahead and just let him live and finish games. I can trap him right here, but I'm not gonna. We'll do that next time.
easy, folks, because it's not been a good night for me, you dig?
Your house has been under surveillance for some time.
Really?
A number of kids have...
Idea.
Oh, darling, it was your brilliant crafts.
I don't like this dude, man.
We were trying to help the unfortunate augurs.
Augurs?
Those are those things that were chasing us around the house trying to get our blood.
Oh.
Fled and left there to die.
Poor creatures have just... but not enough to become vampires.
Poor creatures. Those things are monsters. See?
It's a wicked curse. Wandering for blood, hoping one become a vampire.
Ew.
Vampires? You gotta be jabbing me. Let's cuff these freaks and drag them.
Hold it! I don't think... serious trouble here.
No, Lieutenant. I'm afraid it is you who doesn't understand.
Jeffrey!
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. What's going on?
With the stair trap.
Well...
Please.
we going to do with the others?
Don't worry about them. Go and get that phone.
She went up the stairs.
Oh, Victor.
After you, my dear.
Après toi, ma chérie.
Oh, this is fun.
Use the trap.
A closet.
It was going to be a surprise.
Thanks. Gotta help me, please. Use the trap. Now.
The wall trap!
Yeah! Please, you're the only one that can save me.
You're all mine now.
Thanks, Control. You just saved my life. And you were very good. You saved all my friends. Trapped most of the Oggs. I'll bet with a little practice, you could be perfect.
So yeah, there's definitely a bunch of glitches in this game that need to be fixed. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get the perfect score. Survival mode is fucking ridiculous. Oh well, sorry about that. I have the mute button on. Sorry, I blew out your speakers or ears. My bad. Hold on just a second. I'm gonna tuck in my fiance. I'm back. I'm gonna put on the face cam now. There we go. Hello.
Oh no, there's no escape, my sweet little plum.
My sweet little plum.
All right, Mike, I think we've seen enough.
Allergies.
Wow, it's got to be the strangest thing I've ever seen.
Hear that? Just got this in last night.
All right, listen up. The students that have been coming up to work the resort on this side of the lake have been disappearing right and left.
Local authorities didn't have a clue until our surveillance teams tapped into the winery house right there and taped everything you just saw.
What about the cameras and the traps?
Probably security.
What?
We suspect they're using the winery house as a cover, and they're getting anyone who stumbles onto their scheme, whatever that is.
Mike. This is Kelly.
Kid.
Come on, isn't she a little young?
She's young. She's one of our best.
She'll also be working inside. And remember, no one goes in until we get the signal from her.
I want to know more about these traps.
Yeah.
That's one thing we've got going for us.
How's that?
One of our guys put an override on the camera cable unit here in the back hallway.
Which means?
Which means we have complete control of the cameras and the traps.
But who operates that?
They do.
And who's that?
I'm not exactly certain. Special operators from Control. But we gotta work together on this one. Any questions?
Let's rock and roll. Let's do it.
Be careful out there, huh? And you keep your eyes open. We're all depending on you, especially Kelly. She should be there now. I'll switch you over. And good luck.
Shit, my leg's going numb. Fuck, I missed them. Alright, I already fucked up. So guys, do you want me to continue to play this game, or do you want me to start a new stream and start streaming another game? I got tons of other titles to choose from. I got Ghostblade, Eve Valkyrie, Lioness, No Man's Sky, Farpoint, Little Nightmares, Star Trek for the VR, Slain, Senran Kagruga, Jensen Rondo, Shantae, Half Genie Hero, Resident Evil 7, Attack on Titan, Darius Burst, and have some others as well. If you're interested in keep them, so I can still keep playing this. Whatever y'all want. So I think I need a change of pace. I'm like, been playing this literally all day. Haven't played any other games today except this. Is my mic even on? Yeah, it's on. Okay, good. Yeah, we could play Shantae next. Let's go and do that right now. Alright, let me go ahead and put that on. Alright guys, I'm at the end of the stream real quick, and I'm about to start another one. I'll see y'all then.